friends. The cockerels are still here. The church is still here. Let's just get straight into this one. Beautiful day. Beautiful day. So this is an unusual subject, composition. It's kind of next to the church. You can see here, got all the church, side roof here, parts of the buildings, trees in the distance. So once in a while I like to try something a little bit different. So we're going to just get straight into this and try something a little bit different. Let's see what happens. Don't be afraid to experiment in watercolour or any painting medium. It's always good to try out new things to see what happens. So I'll pop it in the sky first. Lots of clouds in the sky. We'll pop this down to the top of this roof. And we'll leave that, and it's kind of done very fast, super fast. Just blur off some of these edges. Don't have them all sharp. We'll pop in, so that was ultramarine. We'll pop in some sienna, just into the distance here. In the back of that horizon. And in the grass here, the foreground. And it's quite windy now, so hopefully you can hear me on the microphone. Kind of gone into the shade, so it should be okay. And here, very bright yellows, so we'll pop those in. Relic just there. Foliage. Some other bits and bobs in terms of foliage there. In some of the distant blues in here, tree line, touch of grey as well, not just all blue, so we don't mistake that for the sky. Just edge that up a little bit, just soften that off with some liquid there on the horizon. Just going to move that down. Help the paint spread. There we go. We'll come in with some darker tree notes in here when that's dried off. So we're looking big shapes. The sky's a big shape. These side of this church, well, absolutely huge shape. It's grey here. We need to be careful with this. It's kind of a blue grey, but it's quite light. So like a slate grey in here of this roof. Just pop that in. And then a kind of yellowy grey for the main part of the church. So let's just put this in super fast. That's this part of the building. It's the first kind of wash in there. Don't need to be too precise. These little gaps of light in are fine. That's that. There's quite a lot of shadows in here as well. Similar mixture with the grey and the raw sienna for all of this really. So we're going to just pop in the next part. and this will all come into its own once we get the shadows in. This is slightly warmer part of the building here. Another little section. We'll pop that in. Leave that in there. And this is definitely in the same tonal colour range. Just in here. And we'll let that dry off, and we can go into our next part, and this shouldn't take too long to dry. I mean, the sky is dry already. Love the way this is kind of bloomed down here. Just move this paint around a little bit on the board. Up to dry touch. This is all dry amazingly fast. It's very, very windy. Very windy indeed. So we're going to come in now with our CAD yellow and an ultramarine, touch of Payne's grey, and we're going to pop in these trees here. And these will blend and bleed in. Just need to let them do their own thing. We'll darken up in places. Create a bit of variety in there. Especially here. I keep thinking I can hear a cuckoo. Yes. Hear it? Definitely a cuckoo. Wow. That's not heard that much anymore in Norfolk, so that's beautiful. Wow. So we're letting this blend and bleed. In here you can see that. Just going to use some clear water to get rid of that little dot that I popped in there by mistake. This happens now and again. We're going to keep this simple. It's all tonal values here, so I'm looking very carefully on what's in front of me. Very excited by that cuckoo. Just to find the edges there. A little bit of dry brush. And in here. We've got quite a bit of pencil work going on. Hopefully you can see that. Quite a few of these large slates on this roof. I'll just suggest, nothing more really, of some of this brickwork in here. Keep it loose. We're not lavishly copying what we've got here, we're just keeping it very loose, suggestions. Get the eye going in towards there. This is a strange one because the guttering here at this church is a blue, so we'll just pop that in. And then a lot of this is in shadow. So I'll mix up a shadow colour in a second. In fact, I think I'll just get rid of this here. Take this out. Mix up a nice shadow colour. Pop in our blues. Let's have a little bit of all of these blues, cerulean, cobalt, and of course, almost running out of that, ultramarine, and our crimson. We need to mix up enough there, so I'm going to add some more water. Quite liquidy this needs to be. Let's pop in some more water. It's quite red. I do need a slight variation because there's going to be a lot of shadow, so hopefully you can see all of that. Sort of a bluer shadow going back. Which is kind of here. There. All down here. There's a big shadow just in here. A little one there. Big here. That one needs to be warmed up a little bit. This is all in shadow. So we'll pop this in super fast. All of this side of the building is, we do have touches of light that we need to be mindful of. Otherwise, this is all shadow. Just getting these in super fast is a trick, not going back to them once you put them in. Just careful looking. Just there. Move the board down. Move the board up. And bring this in even warmer here because it is quite warm down here. Just to mix that up with a touch of this burnt sienna. It's kind of almost cast stone bricks in here, so we kind of want to signify them. also gives a bit of variation, to be honest. This is dry, but there's a very big shadow in here. We're going to make this bluer. Straight in there. This could actually have an edge on it, which would help. Let's just pop that in. Make this a bit stronger. I don't want it to become a painting by numbers or just outlining everything. That would be a bit weird, but this is the kind of focal point here. So I do need this to be separate from the background, if that makes sense. That's better. And this is very dark in here. That's better. Be brave. Your paintings, don't make them wishy-washy. There we go. That's quite nice. Works well. Background, we've got some trees. Branches coming up here. So that just helps unify. Got some more of those up here as well. All the way across the background, more trees. How much? We got one in the front here. This and start to join up some of these shapes. Remember, we've talked about this before. Don't leave anything in isolation. By joining up, I mean, you know, this line going here is actually attached to the church. Everything's starting to kind of join up, and that makes it more pleasing on the eye. Okay, so just remember that little tip. Shadow in here as well. That will help. I'm going to touch some blue in because that was a little bit. And all the shadows are kind of coming off this way, so we'll pop in a couple here. And here, what to do with this? This little brush here, it's a little mop brush. It's really useful for dabbing in foliage, which we shall do now. So this is ultramarine, touch of Payne's grey, touch of cad yellow, and this technique will help splay it out. So as I go, let's look at the line here. So we're just keeping what we've got underneath, retaining what was under. Quite good for this little privet hedge here, and all the foliage that's on that. Have to be careful with this not to go too crazy, but that just kind of gives the effect that we're looking for, and that was it. It's that quick and done. We can have a similar effect up in here with some of these other. It gives you the idea of movement. It's quite windy today, so that's quite useful. Kind of mix up all of this in terms of tones and colours. There we go. Join that up a bit. And these look as if they're kind of stuck out in space, so we will anchor them in a tree. I'll just suggest a few coming in here. That'll do. Bit of dry brush. It'll be nice and light. So I love the textures that we've got going on in the background. So beautiful. And the light shining through works nicely. Kind of an air of mystery in the back there. And then we've got this kind of hedge. Oops, what have we got there? A hair or something. Go in the background. Some sort of hedge. Again, it's about retaining pieces of light underneath. It really is. Let's darken up some of these a little bit with this grey that we had and leave that. That's, you know, kind of it. The only thing I think is missing is there's kind of this strange, it's for to say this, but like the human touch, if you like. So I'm going to pop a window in here. Kind of pointing the eye towards that window, just to me gives it a bit more of a human touch. And then a bit of life. Hopefully you can see this. By popping in these birds, kind of different shapes, sizes. That will help some crows or something in there flying around. We'll pop a couple in here. I have one down here and there. Just gives it a bit of life. There's no humans there. And finally, I just want to darken off this kind of shadow mix here. Another layer. Now what I could do to push all this back, and this is now kind of, well, it's not cheating, it's using knowledge of painting techniques, is to make this foreground shadow on this large part even darker. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. Darker tonally, that is. There we go. We're going to pop that in swiftly. No messing about, not going over things too much. Trying to retain the essence of that original piece of paint. Just getting that in super fast. And then leaving it alone. So that should push the rest of that back, hopefully. Yeah, it does. Tonally, it certainly does. It pushes the rest back. Touch of blue in, just to mix up. Get that transparency in. Let it just do its own thing. I'll move it around on the board a little bit. Just a little bit of variety helps. Don't want it all samey. Got that texture in there as well. Great thing about ultramarine is the granulation on it. There we go. That's what we was looking for. That's what we need. Touch of granulation. There we go. Now, because it's kind of blurred off in a way in terms of its tone, and we've got the texture, the eye doesn't rest there at all. It comes at this lightest light, darkest dark, and then it'll work its way around. And certainly here as well. Anyway, hopefully you enjoyed that. Remember, like, subscribe, ring that notification bell and all of that jazz. And happy painting. I'm just going to wrap this one up now. But I will bring around the camera to take a look at this. And then I will take the tape off. So take care now, and happy painting.